All right, so haven't had this AK for very long, and out here doing some kind of nerdy stuff with it, not so IG sexy stuff, just looking at marksmanship, and more specifically, like, how do I need to mount this gun to make it behave the way I want it to, like very, very predictably, and how is the index different than my normal stuff? And, you know, I think this is two things that, while not so sexy and might not be as super fun as like running around the range, you know, doing transitions and all that jazz, but like trying to figure out how the gun behaves and how you need to mount it to make it behave the way you need it to, and how do you need to index this thing, because it is most certainly different than what I'm used to, right? The stock sits lower in my shoulder than what I'm used to. It kind of has to because of how high the optic is on this thing. Yes, I like have a good cheek weld because I have a cheek riser on it, but the stock is sitting lower, the optic is higher. You know, I'm taking the safety off right here instead of, you know, like a normal AR. And so a lot of the things about this gun are pretty different. The way that it feels during recoil, it's kind of scar-ish, where it kind of bucks a little bit. It's like, it's soft, but since the piston is pretty heavy, like it kind of bucks. At least that's the feeling that I get. And, you know, just messing around with this thing, as little as I have, I find that a little bit more like rearward pressure into the shoulder most definitely helps kind of get rid of that bucking feeling of what the rifle is doing. So anyway, I'm gonna shoot some bills at 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50, and go down here and look at the hits. Not so much like an outcome-based type of thing. All I'm looking at is like, hey, what do I need to do in order to mount this gun to make it behave the way I need it to? So we'll go down, check the hits afterwards. Oh, those centered up 139. That first shot seemed kind of slow. Yeah, 56. There's the lack of index with this gun. With the AR, for me at like 10, that would have been like probably in the 30s. So go back to 20. Make sure it lands in the middle when I index it. Kind of, sort of. It's either up or down. Not so much in the middle, but give it a go. All of those were nicely centered up to 156. 66 first shot. Just a little bit more rearward pressure with this thing definitely helps mitigate that buck that I feel with it. There we go. Okay. That was a 176. Back to 40. Should have enough here. Okay. That track to the right. That was not so great. 171, like not high right, just kind of laterally to the right in the last two shots. Probably from me pushing on it just a little bit. A lot of the times, you know, the more rearward pressure that the rifle requires, what I find is that pressure is kind of harder to keep there, and I find like I'll start steering it one direction or the other, and I think that's kind of what happened there. Actually look pretty good. 166. That seems pretty sporty for a bullet 50. And we'll see. It looked like the gun was kind of tracking where I wanted it to. It looked like it was just all sticking in the alpha up and down, but there might have been a couple left or right. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, not too bad. So like, you know, stuff like this, stuff like that, stuff up here, it's like that isn't too interesting to me. Like you should be able to recall like, hey, when did that happen, and be able to articulate that type of stuff. And like that's what we're out here doing. Like, did I see when that happened? Did I feel when that happened? And then apply cause and effect. And you know, if you have stuff like this, like that delta down here, that delta right here, it's like, or even, you know, that delta, so 3 deltas on here. But if you have stuff like that, it's like, it's not a huge deal. You just need to be able to articulate why that happened. And I wouldn't be too like, you know, focused on what the outcome actually looked like, because we're out here working on the actual process of being able to shoot this thing better, not so much the outcome. If we look at the process of like, hey, how do I mount this gun to make it behave the way I need it to, etc., like this is going to take some exploration on your part, and definitely you will definitely have some failure along the way, kind of like what I have here. Ideally, it would be all centered up in the alpha, and it's like, well, probably wouldn't even need to do a video about that at that point, because it wouldn't be very interesting. So there you go. That's what we're working on out here with this little AK.